Can the Brewers be possibly more lifeless than they are right now? A chance to get healthy with the bats offensively against the worst pitching staff in baseball, against a team that could go down as the worst baseball team ever. And the Brewers, 10 hits in 2 games, 19 innings, just 3 runs. The Brewers have hit a new low. We'll get to that coming up next here on Locked On Brewers.
You are Locked On Brewers, your daily Milwaukee Brewers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Boy, there's been some frustrating losses this year for the Milwaukee Brewers, but this is it. This one tops them. Hi, everybody. I'm Chuck Freeman, host of Locked On Brewers, losing 2-1 in 10 innings to the Oakland A's. And I know Oakland took 2 from Pittsburgh, but, the Brewers offensively have just been pathetic all year long. You look it up and down at the numbers of the Brewers, and it's just bad, and they look lifeless. They're not fun to watch sometimes offensively. And the way today's game is, and gosh, thank God I wasn't there, because that would have been that would not have been fun leaving that, because I was steaming coming out of my ears that the Brewers, until the 8th inning when Contreras homered, put a run on the board. But they had gone the first 7 without scoring. And, I just thought they'd find a way to win that game again against Oakland, but they couldn't get it done. We'll get to that coming up. The offense is bad, and I don't know. This is going to be called maybe the summer of frustration, because these guys are the hitless wonders. We'll get to it coming up here. It's a shorter edition, of course, around the weekends, the Saturday Shorty, Chuck Freeman, Locked On Brewers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day. Thank you for joining us. The Brewers, I work for 1310 WIBA in Madison, longtime sports talk show host in Milwaukee. Been covering the Brewers for over 40 years for AP Radio. But this is a team that I haven't been able to figure it out at all. Not one bit. It gets frustrating. And sometimes, they are not fun to watch. Honest to God, they are not fun to watch. And I hate saying that about my favorite baseball team and my favorite professional sports team. But my gosh, they listless. I mean, I don't know how many more words I can do to describe it. Before I get into that, thanks for joining us. YouTube followers on there, thank you very much. Follow us on YouTube. Hit the subscribe button. Hit that alert button. It's going to allow you, every time we drop an episode, it's going to alert you when we drop an episode here on Locked On Brewers. So please, by all means, subscribe. Also, the audio version, Google, Spotify, Apple, any of your platforms out there, we drop everywhere. We're the #1 Brewers podcast on the internet. Thank you very much. Locked On Brewers, we are your team every day. Yeah, and it's late night on a Saturday night. Yeah, the hitless wonders these guys are. And to top it all off, okay, in the bottom of the 10th inning, you get the courtesy, you're down 2-1. You got the courtesy runner at second base. Andrew Monasterio, we love him. He should be on this team right now by default, if anything, because Bryce Tehran wasn't getting it done, okay? So Monasterio comes up, man at second, and you're not laying a bunt down with this guy. I know he tried to lay the bunt down the other day and it was just painful to watch, but major leaguer who's trying to get himself established as a minor league player, career minor leaguer, trying to get himself established as a major leaguer, I would think he'd be spending time in a batting cage trying to do some of the things that he should be doing then, laying down a bunt. This is how you're going to stay on the team. 10th inning comes. I mean, I assume that's the reason why Counsell didn't want to bunt Monasterio, because maybe he didn't think he could lay down a bunt. Because man at second, down 2-1 against the Oakland A's, you're going to play this game with them. I mean, you're not playing the Yankees here. You're not playing the Dodgers. You're playing the worst offense in the league, and they scored at the top. Okay, you're going to try to get that runner over, being the home team, and try to tie it and get into another extra inning. Maybe win it there in the bottom of the 10th. But Monasterio grounded out. I mean, were you thinking that if Monasterio, if he strikes out or doesn't advance the runner like he didn't do, that Christian Yelich is going to get the job done. How many times has he done that this year? Try 0, okay? Was not happening. Bounce out, fly out. Game over. You got to advance that guy to third. At home against a bad baseball team. Let's take this into another inning. All right, let's try to get to another inning. But, you didn't advance him over because maybe he thought that Yelich was going to come with an RBI single there if Monasterio couldn't get the job done. I certainly didn't. When Monasterio bounced out and the runner didn't move to third, game was over right there. Maybe Adames could have came through, but he didn't. Flew out. But Yelich certainly wasn't going to come through. Little weak grounder. That was that. Offensively, 10 hits in the 2 games, 6 hits today. Again, I was just seething all game, inning after inning, when the Brewers could not put up a run. Inning after inning. Contreras blast one 440 yards, 440 feet. Nobody else comes close to any offense. But I'll tell you what, our guy Tehran, he's holding up his end of the bargain. He sure is. 4 starts now, 4 good ones. Let's say what he said after the game, too, about not getting any offense. That's coming up next here on Locked On Brewers. We'll tell you about the matchups coming up on Sunday on the mound for the Brewers and the A's. The show is brought to you in part by eBay Motors. For a championship team, all about making sure every player is a perfect fit. It's the same when it comes to your vehicle. Every part needs to fit just right. So the next time you need parts and accessories, head to eBay Motors. With eBay Guaranteed Fit, you'll be sure that every part you need fits just right the first time around. Just add your ride to My Garage and look for the green check, and you'll know the part will fit or your money back, because just like in sports, confidence is the name of the game. When you shop eBay Motors, over 122 million parts to choose from, you'll be back in the game in no time. After all, it's easy to bring home a win when the right parts are guaranteed. Get the right parts, get the right fit, the right prices on ebaymotors.com. Let's ride. eBay Guaranteed Fit, only available to U.S. customers. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. Chuck Freeman here on Locked On Brewers, talking about tomorrow's starters. And yeah, Tehran, fantastic. I don't know why he'd want to be here anymore, pitching like that. We'll get to that coming up next here on Locked On Brewers. Welcome back to Locked On Brewers. Your host, Chuck Freeman here. Thank you, all you everydayers out there, for following us on the various podcast sites, Google, Spotify, Apple, and, of course, downloading us, YouTube. Hit the subscribe button, hit that little bell there. Please hit me up on Twitter as well, Chuck Freeman, Freimund. I read all your comments today. You're just as frustrating as me, as I am. You are, and I get it. I'm totally get it. The one bright spot, Julio Teheran, 7 innings, 6 hits, 1 earned run, 6 Ks. 4 starts now. This guy's pitched well enough to win, and he's won in, he didn't get the loss that he got no decision because the home run took him off the hook. Tehran was asked about the little offensive support that he's getting so far with the Brewers, as all the pitchers are. He says, I've been battling that my whole career, all the way back to my days with the Braves. And the Braves offense, man, I remember, seems like anytime the Braves run a good pitcher through there, Maddox, Glavine, Schmaltz, they never support those guys offensively either. And apparently with Tehran, they didn't do it either. It's just funny to hear him say, yeah, my whole career, no one did it anyway. So, yep, same thing's happening here. But yeah, just a keeper. I said this was going to be a big start for him. Okay, just get him a little offense. And he did his work once again. He did his work. At least you know one thing. If the Brewers aren't going to stay in the race, and by default they're going to stay in this NL Central race because it's so bad. But if they weren't, and Tehran kept this up, you'd trade him. You would absolutely trade him for a minor league piece. You would. You would absolutely do that. A few other guys, maybe. Well, I don't know. I mean, geez, how bad the Brewers offensively. Would anybody want anybody for the Brewers? Who'd you want? I mean, you don't want anybody hitting 230. Our third place guy is hitting 220, isn't a home run in about a month. Just frustrating. All right. Freddie Peralta on the hill for the Brewers. J.P. Sears, guy no one's ever heard of on the mound for the A's. That means he's going to go 7 solid innings. How about this? I think the last time the Brewers were home on a Sunday against San Francisco, they had dropped the first 3 of the game of the series against the Giants and ended up holding on for a win on Sunday. Yeah, I'm going to the game on Sunday, but my God. Yeah, if they win tomorrow, big deal. They blew the game against the Orioles. They dropped the last 2 against a bad baseball team. Worst offensive team in the league. Okay. They showed that. Their pitching staff, their bullpen is bad. Worst in the league. They're throwing guys out there who were position players a couple of years ago. No-namers. Guys who aren't any good. Maybe shouldn't even be at the major league level. Adrian Hauser said it as much yesterday, Friday night. He said, well, I guess basically, that he basically said in a nutshell, oh, I guess they're a major league baseball team. I should have had more respect for them. Adrian Hauser shouldn't be saying stuff like that to begin with, of all people. All right, that's going to do it. Before I lose my mind any further on this, we'll be back after the show, after the game tomorrow night, dropping an episode, full 30-minute show. 10 hits in 2 games against the Oakland A's. Thought maybe the A's used it all up against the Pirates. Oakland's got, 17 wins now? 17 wins, 16 wins, whatever it is. I mean, just they've been sitting on 50 losses because the Pirates and the Brewers are handing them victories. 2-1 today, 10 innings. Can't score a run. Somebody on that team, break down a wall, smash a batting helmet, act like you care. Someone, please. Talk to you tomorrow night, everybody. I'm Chuck Fro. By the way, the game is on Sirius XM on the SXM. Search Brewers and A's 110, the hometown broadcast on Sirius XM on the SXM app as well tomorrow. Search Brewers. It's going to do it, everybody. On the Sunday Shorty, this is Chuck Freeman. Talk to you all after the game tomorrow night. Better not be getting swept by these guys.